Okay, friends, the prompt for today's journal activity goes back to how to listen to your own inner compass that is guiding you to where it is you need to go in your life. Let's circle back and think about why I brought this subject up in the first place. So, your own inner compass, also known as, let's call it your intuition, that is guiding you in the direction that your higher self craves, or in the direction that you know you want to go into, but you don't exactly know how yet. So this compass, it offers you guidance, it offers you direction, and these things will inspire the actions you take and the decisions you make toward whatever it is you're seeking for or looking for. Now, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people might ask, how is it then that we listen to this inner compass, and how do we know when it actually is the inner compass that is speaking? So let's circle back for a moment. What happens when in our lives we feel disconnected from our intuition? Maybe we're lacking direction, we're lacking um, maybe even motivation to move forward in our goals and our dreams. And this can happen when our intuition gets clouded, oftentimes by distraction from the outside world. And this can come in various forms. One of the main distraction points for myself has been other people's, or trying to imitate other people around me. Maybe that's falling for influence from others. I see how others are doing things. I see the path that they took to get their success. And inevitably, I try to follow it and replicate it because I feel like that's normal and that's what people should be doing. Meanwhile, I could end up following the destiny of somebody else and completely ignoring what my own soul is wanting and craving. Another thing that might distract you or cloud you from your internal compass could be emotions such as fear and doubt. I'm going to talk about these probably a lot throughout my journaling sessions because I struggle with these a lot. Well, it's gotten much better, but at least in the beginning, these would take over my mind and keep me so stuck and stagnant. So sometimes my internal compass would be trying to speak to me, and I have emotions of fear or doubt that act like a wall, keeping me from the things that really matter to me and that I really want. Fear and doubt. Okay? So, this is something that we can practice avoiding. Well, not avoiding because fear and doubt are always going to be there, but we can practice how to stop listening to them and stop being ruled and overtaken by them. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. All right, I'm trying to think if there's any other types of distractions that keep me from seeing my intuition. Um, okay, so let's think about things that maybe I'll come back to it, but let's think about things that will inspire us to return to this compass. Let's say this is you. This compass, we are born with it and it stays with us our whole lives, okay? We never lose it. It always remains there. But if we ignore it a lot of the time, then it starts to become more and more quiet until it feels like a very faint whisper. We can practice reconnecting with this so that in a way you're almost ruled by your compass, and all the actions and the steps that you take in your life come from this place of higher knowing. Okay, I'm going to save this for later because I want to talk about that concept of higher knowing. My biggest feat that has helped me connect to my internal compass is simply awareness and feeling through the body. So, most of the time, I would say, as humans, we run in this, especially if you're living in a developed country, it's very much run by the mind. I feel like everything in society, in the world, is technical and scheduled and logical, and there's steps. There's always something that we need to intellectually perceive of. What this does is it keeps us stuck in the mind for most of the day and disconnected from our body awareness, from our body, which is responsible for, or it holds, maybe it holds emotions, feeling, and higher wisdom that we can't access through the mind. Okay, the body carries this very profound wisdom within it that the mind does not have access to. And this is so important because this wisdom speaks to you through the compass, so it's always communicating to you, and arguably, this wisdom actually knows what's best for you. Okay, your mind is limited. It thinks in logic and it thinks in steps, but your higher wisdom is so much more intelligent than we can believe because it is grander. It is a force that is greater than the simple human mind, okay? And this is how we want to experience life through our wisdom and our intuitive compass rather than our mind and our logic. And when I say this, a lot of people might feel some type of way about it. And I totally understand why, because this is all we know is mind and logic. And not too many of us are connected to that deeper wisdom of feeling and being that is more profound and beyond the mind. Over time, we can practice getting into this, but for now, let's move on. Okay, so what do I mean by the higher knowing? The body is that which is connected to a force, a power, again, beyond the mind. Deeper, higher levels of wisdom, and a knowing that transcends logic. When you are stuck with making, or if you are in a process where you're trying to make decisions, you're trying to find direction of what action to take next, a lot of people might begin to process it through the mind. They might try to come up with a logical idea, and this may or may not work. Sometimes it works out. If you have a lot of past experience, you might know what direction to take and you have some confidence in that. But there are some times when you need that higher knowing, that influence and calling from a higher version of yourself to be able to make the decision. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining this right. The whole reason that I bring this up anyway is because I too was somebody who made all decisions from my mind and my logical thinking side of myself, when the whole time my intuition was calling me and screaming at me, telling me what decision to make next. Sometimes you might know this. Let's say you make a decision based on logic, even though deep down there's this gut feeling that says, I don't really know if this is the right choice. And then let's say after time you realize it wasn't the highest possible choice you could have made, and you look back and you're like, I knew it too. This higher knowing, it speaks to you. It's very quiet, sometimes it's loud, but it's speaking to you all the time. And if you are making a decision and you feel this very mild, sometimes it's so subtle, conflicting energy in your body, it's a sign that you're going against what your inner compass is telling you. Okay, why am I even bringing all of this up in the first place? Now that we have this general consensus down, let's begin to ask ourselves some questions. One of them we already talked about was, what can I do to practice listening to my intuition and my inner compass more? What can I practice? And for me, the answer that I received when I asked this question is some more ways to ground myself. So, feeling into my emotions, feeling into what my body is telling me, what feeling the energy in my body when I think about certain decisions. Let's say you're trying to choose between two jobs to take. Maybe one of them seems better on paper. It might seem like the job that people will approve of more. But when you think about this job, something inside you feels like constricted and not excited, or it brings up fear, but not in the good way. Maybe option B makes you feel expansive and light and flowy. Notice the difference between the two. This is your intuition, yourself pulling you toward option B. Okay? What else can I add to put this? Another question. Okay, here's another question that I can ask. Why is your deeper intuition so important? And why is it so important to, let's say, choose the option that your compass is leading you toward? So, your inner compass is like this source greater than your mind that is all knowing because it is connected with the unified source of life. So, it is all knowing. It is very intelligent. And if you are someone who cares about living a full, aligned life that connects with your purpose, that connects with what you care about and value in your life, basically your highest realization of the self, it is natural then that this compass, all it wants to do is lead you to this self, this highest self. That is its main focus for you right now. If you continue to ignore it and you go based on the mind, then you're going to continue just making decisions that aren't fully aligned with you. And then you're going to wonder why you're not happy in your life. So, this is the tool to help lead you towards that happiness and freedom that we all crave. I don't want you to get confused with when I say your compass, I'm talking about what feels good, right? What feels expansive to you. Don't get it confused with something that feels good in the low effort, low, what am I saying? Low effort type of way versus the good that feels expansive. Sometimes we fall into these low effort forms of pleasure, like maybe you will go for a job that feels easier or that doesn't challenge you. And technically, it feels good because it doesn't scare you and you feel comfortable about the idea. Versus a job that excites you and scares you in the best way because you know that it's going to challenge you. Let's imagine that this is option A, job, and this is option B, job. You might misconstrue this comfort and ease type of feeling with, anyway. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I'm having a hard time explaining this part, but you get the gist. Um, at least I hope you do. We're going to move into something else soon, and I want you to give me some tips because as I'm starting all of this inner work, journaling, stuff for YouTube, I really want it to be that actually gives value to my listeners, my watchers, because if not, I'm just going to be rambling. So, anyways, bear with me. Here we go. It's only going to go up from here. Don't worry, guys. I swear. Bye.